All right, folks, so I'll probably get going with this. I think looks like a quorum. So a quick show of hands, who is a Burble user already and who's here to find out what Burble is? You're not here to help, are you? All right, I'm not very good at this, so don't pick on me. All right, so you know the lack of preparation in this presentation is going to show, but the Q&A session is really what this is focused on anyway. So what I want to do is kind of guide it as we get to the end of the main presentation. So yeah, this is a lesson in procrastination. I've been waiting and waiting for some features to be finished and put them in the presentation, and in the end I ran out of time. So you know, I kept convincing myself that new stuff was going to show up, and it didn't. But that really shows just how hard it is to get code to production, right? Producing Burble is difficult, right? You know, we're always working on it. We're working hard to progress it all the time, and here I am, not having what I wanted to show you, which is some pretty cool stuff. But it is on its way, I promise. So instead, I'm going to start by showing you a video from last year's PIA symposium, which has a couple of things that are contradictory. And we'll go over why they are and what's going to change to make those not contradictory. Bear with me. This is going somewhere. I promise it's going somewhere. I'm just not sure
you
quite
seated
where.
here today, Burble is already a crucial part of your drop zone. So rather than try to show you its vast array of features in just 5 minutes, I'm going to delve a little into what makes Burble tick. Burble is now 10 years old. Over the years, it has evolved into a sophisticated solution that many drop zones could not imagine working without. More than 2 million people have made a jump at your drop zones using Burble. This obviously wasn't achieved by just one person, so let's introduce you to our incredible team. First we have Beirut and Fwong, our senior developers. Then we have Usman, Dela, Merob and Hussein, our junior developers. On Android and iOS development we have Merob and Shakiro. And on infrastructure architecture we have Eric and Thang. I really am super proud of this team and the work they do. Without them, there would be no ticking. It can hurt to admit being fallible, but to evolve it is essential. Communication is a wonderful thing, and we know we need to do better, and have put a lot of effort into improving over the past year. For a start, we heard you loud and clear last season. We pinky promised there isn't a major release waiting to ambush you in the next few weeks. To resolve some of these issues, we have implemented the following. A release notification system that you will see when you log in. Major releases will get advanced notice. You can now submit a support ticket directly from Burble. And release control. No more bugs. Well, okay, that's a lie. It's software. Software has bugs, but we are doing more to limit their occurrences and impact on you through stricter controls and testing protocols. So, what are the magic ingredients that makes Burble such a powerful tool for your operation? Your feedback, requests and ideas from the past 10 years have all made Burble what it is today. Hard work from our incredible team of developers, millions of dollars of investment and reinvestment. A little corny, but we love what we do, solving problems, making people's lives easier, and helping our sport thrive. Our team leaders have 15 plus years of experience in IT and development. We've taken the opportunity to learn and grow every step of the way. And finally, time. We've stood the test of time. We have continued to grow whilst other solutions languish. Here's some boring nerdy magic that Burble is quietly taking care of for you. We are constantly monitoring, assessing and upgrading the infrastructure that supports Burble. We have redundant servers and live replication of your data, as well as incremental backups to ensure you never lose any of your operation's essential information. We have outside companies perform monitoring of security and assessment of procedures. And we adhere to standards for privacy laws, PCI compliance and SOC standards, because it ensures the integrity of our service and it's the right thing to do. Burble is driven by a deep understanding of the challenges drop zone owners, managers and their amazing staff face on a daily basis. We know just how complex skydiving operations are, and we don't attempt to gloss over the details that are essential to protect your operation. Every drop zone is different. You have different aircraft, airports, landing areas, capacity, staffing, teaching methods, scheduling, equipment, pricing, discounts, marketing. I could go on, but you get the idea. We handle it all. We give you flexible configurations so you can run your drop zone your way. Your rules, your ideas for how to model your business. Drop zones have to handle many different types of customer, each with their own set of requirements. It is crucial that these requirements are monitored by the system. Burble gives you the tools to make sure that all the boxes they need are ticked before they are allowed on that plane. Waiver signed, check. Reserve in date, check. Membership okay, check. Ratings okay, check. Weight okay, check. Age okay, check. Money okay, check. Drop zone briefing, check. Again, we could go on, but you already know the list is long. Burble is designed to save time and optimize profitability. Your reception staff should spend time giving amazing in-person customer service, not answering calls from existing customers. And you want your manifester focused on running the operation at maximum efficiency, saving time, filling loads and avoiding shutdowns. And that means focusing on tandems and students to keep the most complex part of your operation running efficiently. For that you want a streamlined booking process, automated emails and texts, customers managing their own reservations, customers sharing on all social platforms, intelligent, flexible calendars that automate capacity handling. You want 9 AM full before offering 10 AM? You got it. Lowest price presentation to help value-conscious customers find a product? You got it. A superb manifesting screen that allows efficient drag and drop assignment of customers to loads, instructors to customers, automated timing adjustments and a clear overall view of the workload? You got it. To keep sport jumpers away from the window by empowering them to self-manifest, organise, put money on account and view transaction history, all from their phone. Again, you got it. Burble does all this and a whole lot more, creating efficiency, generating more business and paying for itself in the process.
Okay, so that was the corny video that gives you a bit of an overview of what Burble does and tries to let you know what makes it tick. That team of developers, since that video was made, has increased by another 4 guys. Okay, so we are constantly expanding to try and cope with all of your demands. So there were some lies in there that apply to British skydiving. Okay, the first definite lie is there will be a new release, and that is because we are finally, after a couple of years of talking about it, connecting to PIMS. So we're going to be uploading your memberships at the end of the day and saving you that manual task of getting everything over to British Skydiving. And we promise that is happening this season. Okay. Money on account. So we talked about being able to put money on account. That's not available in the UK yet, but it is going to be. So that's another feature that will be coming this season. Okay, that ticketing system. If any of you've used it, you know it's a little bit of the elephant in the room. We created a monster when we made it. We allowed sport jumpers to submit tickets of their own as well as administrators. And we ended up with the most ridiculous pile of requests and questions you've ever seen in your life. We're working hard to try and figure out how to manage it better and get on top of those tickets. But you know, some of you will have submitted tickets that probably didn't get to the top of the heap yet. So we're sorry for that, but we are working on it. So what else is in the pipeline? Charity handling. That's a big thing in the UK, and we know it. We're working on things like being able to create a link that holds slots for a certain period of time, and once that period of time is up, it will then automatically release those back to the public. So, for example, you could tell a charity, yep, we'll hold 50 slots for Saturday, September 20th for the next 5 weeks. After that, those will go back to the public. So you need to get your get your charity, your fundraisers going, and get them on board as quickly as you can. And you don't have to remember to handle those links, and you don't have to manually try and hold them for the charity and handle the bookings yourselves. You can automate it. So we're working on ways to make charity handling a lot easier, because we know it's a big deal over here. Affiliate marketing. Marketing is changing, right? A lot of what we're doing these days just doesn't seem to work anymore. Google advertising seems to be on the decline. Everything is getting more and more difficult. We believe that there's a big untapped marketing element in your existing customers, your sport jumpers particularly, but your tandems as well. So we are going to be creating a tool for them to earn points, effectively earn free jumps, earn money towards their next tandem skydive by having a QR code on their phone that they can show to somebody that they're talking to in the pub. So when they're busy going, I'm a skydiver in the pub, they can go, actually, if you want to book using this QR code, they're going to come through. Once that booking comes through and they've actually made their jump, they're going to have a credit on their account for that jump. So it's really going to encourage sport jumpers to actually, in an organised manner, become marketers for you. And I think that's going to actually be way more powerful than it even sounds on paper. I think it's going to be amazing. Other things in the pipeline. Permissions are a bit of a pain in the backside to manage right now when you've got a large team. So we're introducing role-based permissioning. So you're going to be able to say, this person is a receptionist, rather than these are the individual things this person can do. And so when you have a staff changeover, that's going to be a lot easier. Product configuration, that's starting to get out of hand as well. So we're introducing a whole new product configuration screen that will be more of a spreadsheet-based view, so you can see everything at once rather than having to go through things one at a time. And that's going to just make life a lot easier there. If you use agents, the ability of agents to handle themselves, that's improving as well. We've added a lot of features for those lately, and we're going to continue to. We've got a weight and balance application in the works, so because that's becoming more and more important to really actually take care of, rather than just go, okay, there's 2,000 pounds on the plane, or 2,000 kilos on the plane. And then Burble Me is getting a complete rewrite as well. Okay, and then finally, the booking system is getting a massive overhaul in terms of what it can do. We're going to have the ability to sell complex packages in there rather than just individual products with add-ons. So, for example, you'll be able to say, I've got my 7 AFF levels, plus my ground school, plus a t-shirt. It's really up to you what you throw into the package, but that will be available to sell on the booking system itself. So those are some of the major things that are coming down the pipeline. Okay, so the bottom line, we are always working to improve Burble to meet your needs. A lot goes on in the background, ensuring privacy, compliance, data integrity, system redundancy that cannot be seen, but you would feel it if it wasn't happening, right? It's easy to look at Burble as just this software thing that takes bookings, but it's not. It does so much more for your drop zone than that. And your data integrity is an exceedingly important thing, especially with GDPR compliance, or the UK version of GDPR compliance now that you've gone and Brexited. And so it's really important that all that stuff's going on in the background, and to recognise that it exists and we do care. As I said earlier, the team is expanding constantly to meet your needs. We know we're backlogged. We probably always will be, but we are working really hard to add new features all the time, unlike any other product that tries to serve drop zones, because it's a very small market. We care, we really do care about the sport. We love the sport, and we know how hard running a drop zone is, and we want to do everything we can to help your business thrive, and in turn, help our sport thrive. So, questions and answers. Go easy on me. Who wants to go first? Anybody got any questions?
Any questions?
Anybody?
Just a Burble. If you've got an emergency feature on that, like it could call,
Can you put text into that app? Because you can let people know if they've landed far away, you can send messages to the drop zone through Burble, let them know I've landed safely, I'm off target, whatever it is for. Do you have to send a separate text from your phone, or can it manage from inside Burble? Is that an add-on something to think about? You can't do that.
I'm not quite sure I understand the question, because when they hit, they've got a choice of 4 buttons to hit when they land out. So they can say I'm okay and I'm walking back, or I'm okay, I'd like a lift, or I'm fucked, I need some help. So there are 4 fixed choices, because you want it to be simple. If you've landed out, your adrenaline's pumping, you just want to be able to hit a button rather than trying to type in the message, particularly. I guess we could add that. We could think about that being on the list. This is an example of how that list of feature requests just piles up. There's a lot of things out there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll throw one. Franz, tell us more. You mentioned that Burble main rewrites.
Yes.
What's driving that? What are you trying to give us?
Primarily, it actually needs to be brought up to date. The libraries it relies on are old iOS libraries and old Android libraries, and so we have to rewrite it, or it's going to start breaking a lot. We're getting to that point. We fired our whole iOS team and Android team because they'd done a terrible job of the structure. So we're completely from the bottom up rewriting it, and where appropriate we're reconfiguring the way some of those things work. The big thing that we want to add in next is this affiliate thing. That's a big element of what we want to add to it, and we want to improve the logbook because it's a bit crap right now. So the logbook is going to get a major overhaul because I've never liked it. And I'm not sure that anybody else has either.
What's the limitation on adding funds?
Sorry, actually, you know what? I meant to have given you this.
So what's the limitation currently on adding funds to Burble? Is it a UK issue or drop zone specific?
Yeah, so it's a card processing issue. So I need to pick a gateway that I think I'm going to get support from. A lot of these larger processors are kind of black holes for support. So when it all goes wrong, you ask them why, and they always say you did something wrong, and it's very often not the case. They've got a system problem, and they're not willing to admit it for several weeks. In our business, we can't wait weeks for an answer as to why we're not having things work. We need an answer that weekend. I have a partner like that in the US. I just haven't found one in the UK for that purpose yet. So that's the roadblock. I need to find the time to find the right processor to work with to add that on. We've got the structure in place. We just need to choose a processor really and connect to their API.
Okay, thanks.
I haven't been able to get into my Burble Me account for about 3 years.
Okay.
I'm sure it was the right password, but it said it's the wrong password, so I went into the reset password. It says, right, an email has been sent to your email address. Nothing came.
Okay.
Nothing obviously in junk or spam or anything like that. So then it was like, well, where do I go from here? And all I could find was a sales at email address on your website. So I emailed that one, no response. So I just have... But why can't I get it? And why, when it says I've sent you an email to your address?
That's always a hard question to answer to why an email doesn't come through. I know if I press the button on my thing right now to get a password reset, I'll see an email, and I could pull that up on the screen if we had the time to show you.
Because I haven't tried it for a couple of years. I just tried it just now. Still nothing.
Yeah, the app definitely had a problem actually recently, where it was getting stuck in a loop when you try to reset your password. So that bugs occur. But in general, if you end up stuck trying to reset your password, sending an email to sales@Burble Software should come through to one of us, and we should respond to it. Now, email goes to spam as well, both ways, right? So it's possible that we missed it, and if we did, apologise. But we are working on trying to improve the whole flow of how that works, and we're going to be adding an SMS, so like a 2FA option to kind of get yourself back in the system. One of the big problems is that people use different emails when they sign the waiver and when they create their Burble account or when they go to the drop zone. And so what you end up with is they sign the waiver, it'll update their email, and that becomes their login. One of the structural mistakes we made with Burble when we started it was using that email as their login rather than allowing you to say, this is what I want to use for my login. So it's very easy for your login to end up being changed to your email that you use for official documents versus the email that you use for kind of potential spam situations, right? Which is quite a common thing. It's like, I'll use this one, which I don't want them to start sending me marketing emails, but oh, this is a waiver, so I should probably use my proper email. And that's a very common problem to occur, and we're working on restructuring to eliminate that so that your login remains your login no matter what, and can't kind of get screwed up by the drop zone pulling your email from your waiver. So there's several factors in there. It's not an easy one to answer with one simple, like, that's why this happened.
So what do I do now?
Sorry?
What do I do now?
Talk to me afterwards, I'll get you in. I mean, that's really the bottom line. I can fix it for you. That's not hard.
Yeah. You mentioned PIMS integration. Is that going to include checking if sport jumpers have full membership?
That's the plan, yes. We're focused on uploading the student and tandem membership right now, but I've been talking with the guys about more that we can do, including trying to automate your yearly statistic sheets that you have to upload. So one thing that's going to happen is we're going to have a standardized set of British skydiving jump descriptions. Okay, so let's say a Cat 4 for static line. When you can create in Burble 50 different Cat 4s with different prices, different availabilities, things like that. So that your naming of your Cat 4s is not necessarily in line with British skydiving, and when you're trying to produce those statistics, you have to amalgamate all your different jumps that you've created over the year that were actually Cat 4s, but you call them Cat 4 weekend, Cat 4 weekday, Cat 4 special, 249, all that sort of thing. So you end up with a whole pile of different jumps. We're adding the list of official categories, and you're going to be able to assign to the jump that category when you create the jump in the config. But that's part of this new product config screen that we're going to be releasing shortly. And it's just after discussions yesterday that we decided to do this category thing, so that's going to extend the timeline out a little bit, but that's going to really help a lot with some of this PIM stuff, because it will say this is British Skydiving Category 4, no matter what you decide to call it for marketing purposes or for organisation purposes, you can still say this is a Cat 4, for example. So that's coming.
So there's a question here from me.
Yeah.
So I've been experienced with Burble now about 1 or 2 years, I think, and I just wanted to know, before, I know you're booking a time, and you say 40 minutes, ready for flight. You've got 40 minutes. You book that, and then you can check on the time. Does it? It counts down. And you can get 20 minutes before. Before flight, you can get ready. And there's one drop zone. They moved the time, so it should say 40 minutes. And they moved it, and they moved it early. So. But that didn't let me know. Yeah, no, it didn't let me. It didn't say that the time's been moved. It didn't give me a different number for the flight. It sort of said the other flight had been cancelled, and moved. So I saw this man coming towards me and saying, we've changed it round, you've moved your flight. And I was like, oh, right, got to get ready, get everything packed, get on. And I thought, oh, is that something you could add to Burble? So if there are any changes like that, it sends you a notification, because you get like a 20-minute call, and you go, right, I can get ready now. And, you know, you don't want to be looking at your phone the whole time. Is there a notification that could be added for changes like that?
Yeah, I've already got one on. Yeah. Yes, I'll just turn that down. So, in theory, if you've turned on notifications in your Burble Me app, Burble will tell you if your load moves or if you get moved to a different load. So you should be getting notifications if the drop zone, if the manifester changes something.
Can you do that sort of vibration on the phone as well? Is it an alert or is it a vibration, or does that depend on?
Well, that depends on your phone. I'd have to look into whether we can force vibration, but it's generally your notification settings that choose that. They don't like to let applications control that stuff. That's system level, where iOS or Android controls, whether or not your phone shakes or whether your phone rings or dings and how it dings.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, you should, if if you're not seeing it and you've set it, drop me an email so we can look at it. This is part of us rewriting Burble, is that some of these libraries are really getting out of date now, and some of those things are becoming more and more quirky. So we need to catch up on that one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi. If we have suggestions or feedback or bugs we've encountered and this sort of thing on the administration side of Burble, what's the best way to provide that feedback to you?
Yeah, so I like an email for that sort of thing to sales at Burble Software. It'd be really nice if people kept the ticketing system for actual, urgent bug reports, because it's getting a little bit swamped with, we think it should do this, or I wish it did that, and send us an email. We love feedback, we love ideas. Half of what's in Burble is ideas from other people. It's not just one person's imagination. So send sales at Burble Software.
And presumably, just as a follow-up, you don't have any sort of public ideas tracker or suggestions tracker for that sort of thing?
We don't know. There is the Burble Software support group where people have discussions. They'll come up with I wish it did this, and sometimes I'll look at it and go no, and other times I'll go, oh, that's a good idea. I'll have to think about a way of doing that. It's a good place to go and start a discussion. I much prefer creative discussions there rather than bitching and whining. It's so much more fun to watch a creative discussion there. So have at it, make it a public discussion on the Facebook group, or send us an email.
I was wondering, what are the primary reasons drop zones decide to use Burble? What's the...
I'm sorry, can you say?
Yeah, I was wondering, what are the primary reasons drop zones decide to use Burble for? What the issues they try to solve with Burble?
Right. It's kind of like I've got to put myself in the drop zones position to make that statement really. Burble covers everything, right from bookings through to reporting the accounting side of things, right? A drop zone should be looking at, when they decide to use something like Burble, they should be looking at raising efficiency, covering all their bases, protecting themselves, because Burble protects you against things being missed, right? Things like reserves being out of date, or an instructor, rating going out of date. Importantly, once we connect to PIMS, hopefully we'll be able to see an instructor lost their rating. Because right now, what you have, and we have this in America, because we have automatic connection to the merits database, where we can pull on a daily basis instructor ratings, okay? And so if an instructor decides to go off to another drop zone, loses temper with the passenger, punch them in the face and get themselves banned, come back to your drop zone, working away, because you manually typed in their date from their card 3 months ago, you have no idea that they just lost their rating unless you decide to call USPA or look them up on the website. Whereas Burble automatically connects to the database now. They have to check in each day, and if they don't have a current rating, they don't check in successfully, and you get to question why. Okay, with the PIM system, that's what we plan to do as well. Is that so? If British Skydiving has to suspend somebody or ban them, they won't be able to check in anymore. So that's, it's risk management is part of the reasoning. Being able to offer better customer service, right? Burble takes away a lot of the distractions from your staff by allowing sport jumpers to be autonomous, okay? And it can be scary to let sport jumpers be autonomous because you can just like let the monkeys run the zoo. But they, really, once you get used to it, them being away from the window so that you can so your manifest can focus on organising things efficiently, looking after the tandems, listening to the students, not missing the fact that a student needs a certain category. That is where they need their attention to be spent, and the sport jumpers should, for the most part, be able to take care of themselves. So it's things like that, is allowing you to focus on customer service. And then at the other end of it, saving time on reporting, saving time on all the administrative stuff that it's no fun, right? Spreadsheets are no fun. Older software systems are no fun because they keep breaking because they're built on, older technology, whereas Burble is cloud-based and we continually keep it up to date. So you're not there praying that it's going to suddenly just stop working. If you're running, jump run, you're praying the XP isn't going to completely break one day, right? If you're still running it on something like that. So that's just a few of the reasons. There's more.
Yeah, thank you. And how many drop zones are integrated with Burble?
We're at about 220 now.
Oh, that's a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry if you covered this already. What does PIM stand for?
It's the, I'm not sure what the acronym is for. It's their membership information system. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's personal information management system.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah. Yep.
A bit of a sort of another one for the wish list. In the Burble Me app, it would be nice to see more than just your own loads, either loads for another jumper or loads, just the general board that the wall board. Being able to see that in the app would be really useful.
Yeah. That's already on the wish list. One of the problems that you do face more and more these days is privacy. So every time we add something like that, we have to build in mechanisms to allow people to control their own personal settings. And we've got a lot of that in place now in the app, but it needs rewriting to work with some of the newer standards in the libraries. But yeah, we plan to allow you to kind of flick through the loads because it's a small screen. It's not much use having all the loads listed. But be able to flick through them one at a time. So you go, okay, load 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, cool.
Because it might be like you're doing a jump with a coach, and they say, "Oh yes, stick us on 2 loads after my current load," and you don't know what that current load is.
Yeah, exactly. And the ability to say, I want these people to be able to see me on a load, otherwise I'm anonymous, is important as well. So. Every problem that you come up with, it sounds so simple conceptually, and then you realise there's so many things that make it a little bit more tedious to develop. But we're getting there. Yeah. Anybody else? Was anybody wanting
I'm really happy with Burble because about 2 years ago, before my drop zone used, when the 20-minute call out, they obviously used a tannoy. And for me as a deaf person, I was walking around, you know, and I didn't get that message. And now changing it to Burble, I get it, and it's great. So that's been a big change for me, a real benefit for deaf people, you know, doing jumps. Before we had tannoy announcements, we had to check on it. When is it coming, you know, and bothering them. But now it actually gives us a lot more independence. So I think it's a really good thing. Thank you.
That's awesome to hear. That's great. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for that feedback. Is there anything anybody would particularly like to see or get demonstrated? And I can pull up the app if they need to see it, or do we think we've kind of covered what you were hoping for? Did this come close to being useful?
The only thing I've not done is actually had a play around with the app. I've not gone into it too much. Things like loads and things like that, I've not touched that yet. I'm still kind of learning my way through it. If you've got like an FAQ, a video, how-to video, something like that on a website somewhere that takes you through Burble.
Yeah, so this is a big one that people are forever asking for. They all want a manual, mostly for the admin side, not so much for the Burble Me side. There are a couple of apps online for Burble Me, although those are out of date. The manual would be 1,000 pages long for the admin side of things. So I don't believe that anybody's ever going to actually read that. What we plan to do, and we have been promising it for a long time, is to produce a series of videos to kind of help with some of the basics of Burble. Again, this kind of comes down to why I ended up being so damn disorganized for this presentation, is that we're forever changing and updating things. And so I keep going, well, I'll make that video once we've finished updating this screen. And so it never happens. And I'm like, well, if I make that video now, I'm then going to have to update it next week. And so it never happens. And so, you know, we're at the point where what needs to happen is I need to employ somebody to make the damn videos so that they do happen, because I just don't have the time myself. But that, again, comes down to budget, you know. It's a small market, it's a small business, and, you know, employing more people to do more and more jobs, it's a balancing act. You know, we're doing our best, but, you know, videos, I would love to have more videos out there, because it would get a lot of things off my back in terms of questions, you know, but one day. I'm hoping to get that problem under control this year, but I've been hoping for a couple of years to do that. So I can't promise it, but I'm trying. Burble Me, once we've done the new version of the app, that's definitely going to get a video, because the last thing I need is sport jumpers asking me questions all the time. There's just only so much a human can handle.
Behind you.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, where did Burble come from? So why did you start it in the first place?
So, well, I think 16, 17 years ago now, I was smart enough to buy myself a drop zone. And it started out, I bought myself the gear store because it had air conditioning, and I wanted somewhere air conditioned to pack. The owners looked at me and went, well, I think he'll buy the drop zone as well, and I did, because I thought I was retired. Thought it was an amazing idea. And then I realised that there was no software out there that did anything close to what a drop zone really needed. So I, came out of retirement as a programmer and developed Burble. After a couple of false starts, actually, I had a skydiver that was meant to be a programmer, so I designed it for him and had him write it. 2 years later, nothing useful. Then I employed a team of programmers from a local company. Another year later, we had nothing useful. So 3 years of Burble development were thrown out the window, actually. And so in the end, I was like, okay, I'm really out of retirement. I'm going to have to manage this properly, and I employed a group of developers to work under me. and we made Burble, and then other drop zones that that were friends wanted to use it, and so it grew from there. And I realised I had to start selling it.
So where is your drop zone?
I own a drop zone up in Michigan, Skydive Tecumseh. It's about the third oldest in the country, actually, in the US. Yeah, I'm not sure how I ended up living in Michigan. I met a girl, but yeah, I own a drop zone up there.
So you're from that area anyway?
Well, no, I grew up in London. Yeah. No, my accent now fluctuates a little bit between having edges and not having edges. Depends who I'm talking to and what I'm doing. Yeah, I've been there for 18 years now.
Is it mostly in the US and UK, or is it used around the world?
No, I mean we've got them all around the world really. There's more and more in Central Asia. We've got Skydive Dubai as well. Got Kuwait, Qatar. We've got Australia. We're all over the place. In Thailand. We're now starting to go into South America as well. So all over Europe as well. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming. It was nice not talking to an empty room. I hope it wasn't. Well, I hope it was informative at least to some extent. And yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.